Well, it's another typically Scottish dull dreich day, and today's exciting task is going to be changing or replacing the slide pins on this 2006 Honda Jazz. Everything's working okay, but I did find the last time that I was fiddling about with the caliper, the slide pins were a little bit sticky. So I'm going to change them. The car is actually due for its MOT, I think, or it's booked in for an MOT on Thursday. So it's not going to do any harm to check it out. So I'm just going to get the car jacked up, slacken my nuts off, and get the wheel off and have a look at the caliper. Well, that's me all set up now. I've got my impact driver, I've got some spanners, I've got my socket set, I've got my gloves, I've got a bit of cloth, got some general purpose grease, got some towels, and I've got the jack. Let's get cracking before it bloody well starts to piss down. Well, that's the wheel off under the sill for safety. So I've just got to take off these two bolts there and there. You can see the condition of the caliper since I fitted it. It's not looking too bad, but you can see that's not coming on quite how it should be. Pads look okay. Anyway, I'll get this taken off. I'm not entirely sure what size it is right now. I think it's a 12. Let's see. There's a 12. Yeah, it's a 12mm socket. Well, that's me remove the caliper. I did notice that the two 12mm bolts that were holding it on, this one seems to be a little bit rounded, so the 12 wasn't taking it particularly well. So thankfully I've got new bolts to go with the new slide pins. So I'm just going to basically twist and pull these out. So there's the one. There's the one at the top. I'll put that at the back. And then the one, see the one at the bottom, that was the problem one. See that? It's actually gone. It's I don't know exactly what's wrong with it. Yeah, the seal has gone, which has allowed water ingress into it, and then it's obviously caused a bit of corrosion. So that's the whole purpose of today. I could probably reuse this one fine, but I'll just take it out and I'll get it cleaned up, keep it as a spare. But this one's obviously seen better days. The rubber grommet just really isn't wonderful, and it's not sealing. So that was the problem. So I'll clean all this, all these surfaces up here and up there, and then I'll get the pads put back in and see how it looks. Well, as I would always recommend, when you get your new parts, compare them to the old. So as far as the length's concerned, they look the same. So that seems to be okay. The difference you can see is the original ones were hexagonal, whereas this type is like this. I don't think that's going to make any real difference. So the next thing is to get these pins lubed up, but before I do that, I will take some blue towel and I'll put in here. Let's see if I can get a shot in there. Need to clean this out, get all the old grease out. Same down the bottom, clean all the grease out of that, and then I'll just quickly see. So that's the original one. It slides fine, no problem. But I'll clean that out. You can see the dark, dirty grease, but it does actually come with a small sachet of grease, so that's quite handy. Well, I've cleaned the holes out and then I've put in the rubber grommets, whatever you call these things. So it looks like the thicker part goes in to the caliper hanger, and then the thinner part goes over at the top. So as you can see, the tapered part is at the top and the thicker part is inside where the slide pin, you know, goes in and out. So now that I've got that, I'll lube up these using this grease here. I'll lube them up and then I'll slip them in, or that's the plan anyway. Our misses. Okay, so I put these in. You can obviously try to put the rubber grommet on first and then put it in, but I think that would be pretty difficult. So try and get the grommet in first and then gently wiggle and rotate the slide pin. So this one feels just like new, I would say, and this one down here, it does feel a little bit rougher, but it's not bad. That's probably because there's been that water ingress that's taken place over the past couple of years, but no, it's moving fine. A massive improvement compared to how it was, but this one is exactly how you'd expect it to be. But just a very, very slight feeling that that's not quite as smooth. So the next thing I'm going to do is, it looks like I need to turn these that angle to account for the caliper. Same here, and then I'll refit that. The thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to put some grease on here and under there for the pads. Okay, so I've now got the pads refitted. I've just used a bit of multi-purpose grease for that. One of the things to remember is you have these little dowels, and those dowels correspond to the position of this piston. So if for some reason you've adjusted something or you've undone this, make sure that it goes on so that it goes in, the cross is going that way and that way. If you have it any other way, obviously it's not on this side, but it's on this side, that same thing, you'll never get the thing on. But it's meant to be like that, that's how it's designed. So if you find you're having difficulty getting this caliper on, make sure this is lined up, and as you can see, it's pretty much perpendicular. So just from some practical experience there, I found that this thing had a tendency to try to come out of place as I was slipping this on. You might notice that there's a slightly narrower part of the caliper, the brake pad. So try and get these teeth, or whatever you call them, over the narrow part, not over the thicker part of the pad. And just watch that this isn't coming away or out of place. So as you can see, I've got them lined up. I've got my 2 bolts. I don't know if it's a different size now, but anyway, I'll use 2 hands to put them in and tighten them up, and I'll double check what the size is. Right, well that's that all put back together. Again, this is just from practical experience. This one is really quite easy to locate on this particular vehicle. This one is somewhat more difficult for some reason to align with the hole. Again, that might be this particular car, but what I did was I just put the screwdriver in there and then just used that to kind of lever it. If you've got an extra pair of hands, if you've got a friend that can help you, it should be easy enough. But once you've got this particular bolt located, it's just a case of it going around in the radius. So Just you can have a look there and you can see how much it needs to go in before it's lined up. You know, it's not a case of it's the edge of this caliper and the silver bracket, it goes further in. So that's all done. So the brakes are all greased up, the handbrake's off, and it's going in for the MOT on Thursday. So I shall get the back wheel put on and that'll be job done, hopefully.